Hey everyone, welcome to the Reno Bros YouTube channel. Today we are going to show you how to cut a hole for a doorknob or a deadbolt. As you can see here, whoever did this did not know what they were doing. It looks awful. So the lock we're going to use needs to have a perfect circle. So we're going to get that with this tool here made by Lenox. It's a door lock installation kit, and I'll show you a little bit more about it in a second. The only other thing you need is a drill. So let's get into it. Okay, so this kit here is my door lock installation kit. Essentially, it's just a jig that's pre-made, and you're gonna want to use a jig because number one, with a hole that's already kind of partially cut on my specific door, if I were to try to do this by hand, it's not gonna work out very well. So I need a jig so that my hole is gonna end up being perfect. And this one is made by Lenox, so you can use this on metal doors or wood doors, and it'll work great. So let's just get this unboxed here and show you what all is included. We've got this bit. We've got the jig itself that comes with a hole saw for the knob and a hole saw for the latch mechanism. So we're gonna kind of just take this apart here. So another cool thing about this is you can actually set the depth that you want from the edge of the door to your the center of your hole. This is 2 3/8 currently, and to change it, all you do is see how it's kind of like a moon shape. You just take it and rotate it 180, pop it back in, and now you're set at 2 3/4. So those are two standard measurements. And depending on what you want for your door, you'll be able to switch that around to accommodate. And then you have this one, which adjusts for your door thickness. So if you had a 1 3/4 inch thick door, you're going to want to use that. But then if you want to change it for a different thickness, all you do is you pop this one out, do the same thing, rotate it 180, then you just shove this back in there gently. And that's now set for 1 3/8. And then you just got this little hand crank that tightens it on and clamps it to the door so it doesn't move while you're sawing. So we're going to get this set up for the knob. So now that we've got this set up for the knob, we can attach it to our drill. And now let's take this jig over to our door and like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that it's set and ready and positioned correctly. So number one, you need to figure out what the depth is from the edge of the door for the center of your knob. So right here, we've already got this knob, so we want to match what we have. There used to be a deadbolt, and so we're gonna, try to center it over this hole to use it as much as possible. So right now it's looking like 2 3/8 is not going to be what we want. I'm going to move it down next to the knob to see, and you can tell that the center of this hole is a little off to the left of where this knob is. Just to confirm, I'm going to take my tape measure. If I was doing the first hole in this door and there was no existing hardware, I would measure in, and mark 2 3/4 if I want the center of my hole there, or 2 3/8 if I wanted to have the center of my hole here. I'm gonna move this down and see where I'm at. It's looking like 2 3/4. 2 3/8 is here, and that's off center of this one. So yeah, 2 3/4 is what we want. So what we do is, like I said, we pop this guy out. We popped him out, and we're just gonna spin him around and reinsert. Now let's take a look at that. That's much more like it. And if I hold it down, I can kind of see that it's in the right position. Now we're just going to tighten the clamp. You're also going to want to look down here just to make sure that you're lined up in the center of your existing deadbolt latch mechanism. I am dead center, so I'm going to tighten this clamp on, because the last thing I want is to tighten it and then have this hole not line up with this one. Okay, so that thing that I just said only applies if you're doing what I'm doing, which is taking an existing hole on a door and modifying it. So if you're not doing that, then just disregard what I just said. So now we're good, and I can start cutting this hole out. Okay, so one thing I'm gonna say is that you can actually position this jig on either side of the door. It's kind of reversible. I chose to put it on this side because I can see this side a lot better, and it's always good to be able to see what you're doing so you know you're doing it right, instead of putting it on the dark side and not being able to see whether you're actually sawing correctly. You're also gonna want some ear protection. Alright, so since the hole saw is struggling to get the last little bit off of the bottom of the other side, we're going to reverse this and just hit it from the other side. Nice. Okay, so once you finish sawing out this hole, you're gonna take this bit, throw it on the drill, and use it and go right in here, making sure that you know what width the door is, and that your hole is centered the correct direction. If you have to rotate it 180, do that, but then you'll just drill out your latch plate. Fortunately, mine already has the latch hole, so that's the next step. But in this case, I don't need to do that. As you can see, the hole is much more of a circle now. There's still a little bit of corners where they had previously used some sort of hacksaw to cut this out. That's not gonna matter because our deadbolt is actually gonna cover that. So this is gonna work a lot better. Another thing I wanted to point out were two takeaways. One, you're gonna wanna take like a utility knife or something to clean up the sharp burrs on the door now that's been cut. And then another thing is, since this is plastic, if your saw gets real hot in there, you're actually going to melt the jig a little bit. This is still usable, but just keep that in mind. You might want to, if your door is struggling, you might want to take a little bit of a break so that this does not get all overheated. If I was sawing through a wooden door, it wouldn't have been an issue, but since I was cutting through metal, it heated up and started melting this jig. Alright, so I just wanted to clear up one thing here at the end. My situation was kind of unique, so I was taking obviously an existing door and modifying an existing hole. You might actually have a new slab that's going on an existing frame. In that case, you're going to want to make sure that if your old door had an existing deadbolt, that you make sure your jig lines up with the old latch plate, so that when you turn your deadbolt, it goes right into the old latch plate. The other instance would be if you're taking a door that only has a knob and putting a deadbolt hole. You don't need to align with anything specific on the frame because there's no latch plate, but you'll just want to make sure to position it about 6 inches above your knob. Alright, so that is how you tackle that project. Overall, I really love the tool. It's a great thing just to make this job really quick and easy, and so I'd really recommend it. Whether you're doing one door, whether you're doing 10 doors, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier, and it's only like $25 for the product, so you're going to want to get that if you have to do something like this. Anyways, thanks for watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe for more great DIY content.